I think people think about preparation as August, but actually our preparation began way before August. Schools gave in their orders for this year from December, January, so that processing started, and we actually had orders in before school closed. Of course, you know, we had the finance committee to approve the budget, so that ended in June. But closer to the time, we had our new staff in from about the week of the 10th of August, and they had quite a few sessions to help them to settle, help them to get to know more about the islands, and also to have necessary professional development so that they could get to know our system as well. So that's the new staff. So a lot of work went into new staff orientation for them, from members of the department and ministry, but other professional development as well. The principals and deputies and support staff came in on the 18th, and that was to allow, you know, preparation at the school level and also some more professional development. So there was professional development for those sets of persons as well. And I must say that this is the second year we're running the professional development, organized professional development for the support staff. This year we had a behavior focus, giving them information and skills, or developing their skills in recognizing certain learning disabilities. Because we know the support staff are there working with the teachers and supporting them. So it's important for them to be able to recognize and to be able to understand, even more importantly, the particular issues, so that there's a difference between looking at a child and not recognizing what their specific difficulties is, rather than saying, well, that child is just acting out and, you know, we can't do anything about it. We need to put them in a corner or something. So if you're aware of what the issues are, you're also aware of how to assist the teacher. So we had 2 days of professional development for the support staff, and this is ongoing throughout the year. So each PD session, each time we have a PD day, there's something for them as well. And we recognize that highly trained support staff is the key as well, because once again, they're working with the children who need that extra support. Teachers also had professional development in school and specific professional development for them, and principals underwent professional development. So at the beginning of the school year, we take the opportunity when there are no students in to have these sessions. And I think this year and each year when we get our feedback, we can ascertain whether we are spot on with the type of development we did or whether we need to do something else. And as I said, as we go through the year, we have additional days that we can put on other professional development for them. So that was a big sort of preparation. Obviously, this year, the public will know that the government has assisted in providing funding for 50 additional posts. And that they run the gamut from support staff, special support staff for intervention, to assist those students with specific education needs, to specialist staff. So recruitment was ongoing up to yesterday to start getting these posts. So it is my hope that within the next week or so, those intervention support staff will be in place. And we started the year with all schools staffed up. We have had a few late resignations, so obviously we have to staff those, but we have persons on our supply list that can go into schools in the meantime. So all schools have what they need to start the school year in terms of staffing. So that is really a good place to be in. And some years we're struggling to make sure that schools are staffed, but that is really a #1 priority, to make sure that the adequate staff are there. We will continue this week and into the next few weeks with training for those intervention staff, because obviously they're there, they have the qualifications that we need to recruit them. Obviously they need the specific qualifications and skills to assist with intervention. Last year, the schools embarked on intervention for their year ones, and I think that the public would have heard that we did meet our target, which was 85% of our year 1 students leaving to go to year 2 on their reading level. We actually ended with 86%, so that was good. However, we still have the other 14% going into year 2 that these particular support interventionists will assist with, as well as the new incoming year 1s, who each year, it depends on the child's circumstance. Some children go to preschool, some children are at home. Some children, obviously, because of their developmental stage, are a little further on than others. So when they come in year 1, we have a real diverse group of students. So obviously, I think we'll always have students that we have to work with to close that gap. And this year we'll be in a better position to enable the schools to carry out that work with fidelity and to get the progress that we need for these students. So in a nutshell, that was basically a lot of activity at the school level, obviously for teachers preparing their rooms and the necessary renovations and maintenance that needs to be done for the beginning of the school year. We know that during the summer there's a sort of relaxing in sleep time, so it's late to bed and late to rise. So that is the first type of preparation that parents can do with their children. You know, set their sleep times because they have to get up in the morning to catch a bus or for the parents to take them, and then they have to get adequate rest, so they need to go to bed at a reasonable time. So that is reestablishing those routines with regards to bedtimes. Also, reestablishing routines with regards to food, because we know in the summer a lot more fast food creeps in. It's easy. The children are at home or they are out, on an outing. Once again, establishing that, because nourished children learn better. We know that, especially breakfast, which is that important meal for the day. And I would ask that parents resist the urge, if they're taking their children to school, to stop at Burger King or stop at one of these fast food places for a quick breakfast. Schools all provide breakfast, so it is maybe a couple extra dollars to purchase a good wholesome breakfast. And then obviously at the end of the day, when they come home, to ensure that they have a good evening meal, because if you're sure of the breakfast and you're sure of the evening meal, maybe the lunchtime can balance out. So that is the sleeping routines and the eating routines, and also the routines with regards to time. Study time, homework time, and leisure time. And I put the 3 of them together because we know that there's an old adage that says all work and no play. Yeah? And whilst we want our children to do well, we need them to be balanced human beings, so they can get burnt out if they're only doing academics. So set that study time. Set that time for them to watch TV if they're allowed to watch TV. Set that time for them to talk to their friends on their phone if they're allowed to do that. And also set that time for them to have that time with their friends outside the home maybe. And it's so crucial to have that balance. So if we're weighing heavily on either end, we know that we don't have a balance. So I do encourage, and as I say, it's not about just working, it's about getting that downtime, because even as adults, we know we need to get the downtime as well. So those routines. Also, start to work with your child, and as I said, this is from reception straight up, to be responsible for their learning. Yes, I know as parents, we tend to pack the bags and remember to put in the PE kit and that sort of thing, but even as a young reception child, that child can help the parent to pack the bag. That child, where they're starting to read or when they can read, they can look on the timetable to say, okay, I have English and I have math and this is what should be in it. If we cultivate that from early, by the time they get to exam years, they're self-motivated and they're doing that. So that kind of responsibility too for doing your homework. Yes, as a parent, you'll say, well, okay, Johnny or Jane, do you have homework? Let me see your work. Talk to them too about their school day. It's not about did anything go wrong, but tell me about your day. So you get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you encourage them to be open with you and tell you anything. And that is a good thing. So if there are concerns, you can take that up. But also, you get to celebrate with them the good things that happen to them. And I think too often we hear about the negatives and we don't celebrate enough the positives. And I would urge parents not to trade off the positives with the negatives. So if there was a treat in store because of something, don't say, well, you're not getting it again because you did this. You have to balance it, because once again, our children are, even the youngest one, are always looking at reasons behind. And it's about being fair. And if you say, well, okay, I promise you this, I will give you that. However, this happened and we'll have to deal with that. However, you've agreed. And I would say involve them. And I'm again going to, as little as they are, involve them in all your planning for them. That again will build in them a sense of responsibility, and they'll be motivated, not for you, but for themselves. So I think that's very important because, as I say again, as parents, we want to make it as easy as possible for our children, but sometimes we do too much for them, so they don't develop that independence. So when they get to exam stage and they leave us, they struggle because they've never had to do that. So it's really important, and as you cultivate that throughout the years, then they'll build those kind of being self-motivated and having that responsibility. I would encourage parents too. Invariably, we see at the beginning of the school year, I'm sure that the very first day in all the schools, parents were there. They took the time off, they stayed for a while, they connected. But as the school year progresses, that peters off. And I would encourage parents continue to be actively involved in your child's education. Studies have shown that those children with parents, and active doesn't mean that you know what they're doing in school and you can work with them. It means that you're talking to the teachers. Teachers know who you are. They know that you're Johnny's mother or father. So maintain that contact with school throughout the year. Ask questions. We don't always get the answers, or the students, the children might be able to explain, but ask questions, send an email. We live in a technological age, so you don't necessarily have to be face-to-face to find out the information you need. And certainly in terms of building those routines and being responsible, homework timetables, make copies, have them all over the place, like pictures, on the fridge door, in the bathroom, on their bedroom door, so everybody has a reminder. It's really very important to just do those little things. Will go a long way towards the child having a very successful school year. Well, certainly from the Department of Education Services, we have school improvement officers who liaise directly with the school leaders. We are working with our counterparts in the ministry to ensure that the school have the resources and the support that they need. So it is about working with principals to ensure that the curriculum is being followed, that any additional support that they need, we think about creatively how we can address that. Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to inject additional funding, but that we work closely with the schools. Schools will have targets, and we're working with them to establish those targets. So they're working each term according to the students they have, according to the needs of the students, and really monitoring and going back to the students, going back to parents to advise as to where their child is. So I think it's, as I said before, it's something that all of us have a part in, and certainly we are ready for the school year, and I think that it's going to be a very good school year. And I do, as I said before, encourage parents to be a part of that, because that's the third wheel, homeschool, and those parents and students working together.